Welcome to audiobooks. Immerse yourself in the world of stories, ideas, and knowledge, all through the power of audio. Book title: The Power of Not Reacting: How to Control Your Emotions. Chapter 1: The Hidden Cost of Overreacting. How emotional reactivity drains energy, ruins relationships, and clouds judgment. 1. The trap of emotional reactivity. Reacting impulsively feels natural, but it often comes at a heavy cost. When we lash out, panic, or let our anger drive our actions, we trade long-term peace for short-term release. Example: snapping at a partner during a minor disagreement, only to regret it later. 2. The energy drain. Every emotional outburst consumes mental and physical energy. Stress hormones, cortisol, adrenaline, flood your system, leaving you exhausted afterward. Constant reactivity equals chronic stress, leading to burnout, fatigue, and poor health. 3. How overreacting destroys relationships. Reactions often hurt the people closest to us more than strangers. Trust erodes when others feel they must walk on eggshells around you. Emotional volatility makes it harder for people to connect, respect, or confide in you. 4. The judgment cloud. In the heat of reaction, logic shuts down and emotions hijack decision-making. You may say or do things that go against your values. Poor choices made in reactivity often lead to regret, guilt, or unnecessary consequences. 5. The ripple effect. One overreaction doesn't stay contained. At home, it can create tension that lingers for days. At work, it damages reputation and opportunities. Online, a reactive post can tarnish credibility instantly. A moment of truth. Ask yourself, how many times have I regretted a reaction, but never regretted staying calm? Real power lies not in reacting louder or faster, but in holding steady when everything else is shaking. Key takeaways. Overreacting drains your energy, ruins trust, and clouds your judgment. Emotional control is not about suppressing feelings, but about protecting your power. The cost of reacting is almost always greater than the cost of staying calm. Chapter 2. What does not reacting really mean? Clarifying the difference between repression, avoidance, and true emotional control. 1. The misconception of non-reaction. When people first hear the phrase, "don't react," they often misunderstand it. Some think it means to stay quiet while boiling inside. Others think it means to ignore everything and become detached from life. Neither is true. Repression is when you feel something but shove it deep down, pretending it doesn't exist. This is dangerous because bottled-up emotions don't disappear. They resurface later in destructive ways. Avoidance is when you distract yourself, refuse to deal with conflict, or escape situations that trigger you. This might bring temporary peace, but it doesn't create true strength. True non-reaction is something entirely different. It is awareness with choice. 2. Non-reaction as conscious control. Non-reaction means you notice your emotional impulse, but do not let it control your next move. You feel the anger, but you don't let it speak for you. You feel the fear, but you don't let it make the decision. You feel the irritation, but you choose patience instead of snapping. It's not about being emotionless. It's about being the master of your emotions instead of their servant. 3. The difference between reacting and responding. Reaction is automatic, impulsive, and often regrettable. It's your survival brain taking charge. Response is thoughtful, intentional, and aligned with your values. It's your higher mind stepping in. Example: reaction. Someone insults you, you instantly shout back, escalate conflict. Response. Someone insults you, you breathe, think, and calmly decide whether to reply, walk away, or address it later. Non-reaction creates the space for response. 5. Why non-reaction is strength, not weakness. Many people wrongly believe that staying calm makes them look weak or defenseless. The opposite is true. Anyone can explode in anger. It takes no skill, but it takes inner strength to remain steady when provoked. The calm one in the room always holds the real power. As the proverb goes, he who angers you controls you. Refusing to react means refusing to hand over your power. 6. Non-reaction in daily life. In conversations, listening deeply instead of interrupting. In conflicts, pausing instead of escalating. Online, ignoring bait instead of wasting energy. In personal struggles, choosing patience instead of panic. Every non-reaction is a victory, a small moment of self-mastery that builds unshakable inner strength. Key takeaways. Non-reaction does not mean ignoring or suppressing emotions. It means acknowledging your emotions without letting them control you. The difference between reacting and responding is the difference between chaos and clarity. True strength lies in calmness, not in outbursts. Chapter 3. The Science of Emotional Triggers. How the brain and nervous system create impulsive reactions. 1. Why we react the way we do. Every outburst, every snap of anger, every moment of panic, it's not random. It's your biology at work. Your brain and nervous system are designed to keep you alive, not necessarily to keep you calm. When your mind perceives a threat, real or imagined, it instantly pushes you into survival mode. That survival mode is what makes you react before thinking. 2. The amygdala hijack. Deep inside your brain is a small almond-shaped structure called the amygdala. Its job? To scan for danger 24/7. When you feel insulted, rejected, or threatened, the amygdala sounds the alarm. This alarm floods your body with stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. Your heart races, muscles tense, and your breathing becomes shallow. This is called the amygdala hijack. Your emotional brain takes over before your rational brain, the prefrontal cortex, has time to step in. That's why we sometimes say or do things in the heat of the moment that we later regret. 3. The fight, flight, or freeze response. When triggered, your body defaults to 3 survival responses: fight, which is aggression, anger, lashing out; flight, which is escaping the situation, shutting down communication; or freeze, which is going blank, unable to act, silent paralysis. These responses were useful when survival meant running from wild animals, but in modern life, where the threat is often a rude comment or a traffic jam, they create unnecessary chaos. 4. Why triggers feel so personal. Not everyone is triggered by the same things. Why? Because triggers are tied to past experiences, beliefs, and insecurities. A child who grew up being criticized may feel instantly attacked by feedback. Someone with abandonment wounds may panic when a loved one withdraws. A person with pride issues may overreact to small disrespect. Your triggers are like emotional fingerprints, unique to you, but shaped by your history. 6. Awareness is half the cure. Understanding the science of triggers helps you step back. When you know your brain is flooding you with stress chemicals, you can pause and breathe through the surge. Remind yourself, this is my amygdala, not reality. And delay words or actions until clarity returns. This knowledge doesn't erase emotions, but it keeps you from being their hostage. 7. Real-life example. Imagine you're driving and someone cuts you off. Instantly, your body surges with anger. You grip the wheel, ready to honk, yell, or speed up in revenge. But if you pause, you realize your brain just mistook inconvenience for danger. The person didn't attack you, they just made a poor driving decision. Recognizing this shift turns a potential road rage incident into nothing more than a passing irritation. Key takeaways. Emotional reactivity comes from survival wiring in the brain. The amygdala hijack makes you react before you think. Fight, flight, or freeze are natural, but not always useful in modern life. Triggers are deeply personal, often rooted in past wounds. Awareness of this process is the first step to emotional freedom. Chapter 4. Silence as Strength. Why choosing not to react is a sign of power, not weakness. 1. The misunderstood power of silence. Most people are uncomfortable with silence. They feel the urge to fill every gap in a conversation, defend themselves instantly, or respond immediately to criticism. But silence, when used intentionally, is one of the most powerful tools for emotional control. Silence is not emptiness, it is presence. It is choosing restraint over reaction, clarity over chaos. 2. Silence disarms conflict. In arguments, emotions fuel escalation. If one person raises their voice and the other immediately reacts, the fire spreads. But when one side chooses silence, the emotional intensity has no fuel to burn. The other person often calms down when they don't get the reaction they expect. Silence prevents words you'll regret later. Sometimes saying nothing is the loudest message you can send. 3. Listening instead of reacting. True silence is not just the absence of words, it's the presence of listening. When you resist the urge to react and instead listen fully, you gain valuable information. You understand not only what's being said, but also the emotions behind the words. People feel respected when they are heard, and respect softens conflict. By staying silent, you shift from reacting to understanding. 4. Silence as a power move. In professional and social situations, silence can be a form of strength. In negotiations, silence makes others reveal more than they intended. In debates, silence forces others to reflect on their own words. In leadership, silence communicates confidence, patience, and wisdom. Silence signals self-control, and people respect those who don't get rattled easily. 5. Ancient wisdom on silence. Across cultures, silence has been seen as a path to mastery. Stoics practiced restraint, believing unnecessary words weaken influence. Buddhist monks use silence to cultivate mindfulness and compassion. Samurai warriors trained in silence to remain calm in the face of chaos. Their message is timeless. Silence is not weakness, it is disciplined strength. 6. Practical ways to use silence. When triggered, pause, breathe, and let the silence hold your emotions. In conversations, wait 2 to 3 seconds before responding. It makes your words deliberate. In conflict, don't rush to prove your point. Let silence work in your favor. In daily life, practice quiet moments, meditation, walking without noise, sitting in stillness. 7. A real-life example. Imagine your boss criticizes your work in front of others. Your instinct is to defend yourself immediately, but instead, you pause. You stay silent, absorb the words, and nod calmly. Later, in private, you address the feedback rationally. That silence in the moment saves you from appearing defensive and earns you quiet respect for your composure. Key takeaways. Silence is not emptiness, it is deliberate power. In conflict, silence prevents escalation and earns respect. Listening in silence is more powerful than speaking in haste. Across cultures, silence has always been linked to strength and mastery. Practicing silence in daily life builds emotional control. Chapter 5. Awareness before action. Building self-awareness to notice emotions before they explode. 1. The root of emotional mastery. You cannot control what you cannot see. Most reactivity happens because we're unaware of what's rising inside us until it bursts out. One harsh word, one impulsive decision, one overreaction, and only afterward do we realize, I shouldn't have done that. Awareness is the first step. Before you can master your emotions, you must learn to observe them as they arise. 2. The role of self-observation. When you begin noticing your emotions early, before they take over, you create space to choose a better response. Anger starts as a tightening in the chest or jaw. Anxiety begins as shallow breathing or a racing heart. Irritation often shows up as restlessness or the urge to interrupt. Most people miss these signs, but if you catch them, you can pause before the reaction explodes. 3. Becoming the witness. Instead of being your emotion, practice watching it. Think of your mind as a sky and emotions as passing clouds. You are the sky, not the storm. When anger rises, say to yourself, I notice anger is here. My chest feels tight, my thoughts are racing. This is a reaction forming, but I don't have to act on it. This small shift from I am angry to I notice anger is transformative. 4. Tools to build awareness. Journaling. Writing down your triggers and emotional patterns builds clarity. Mindfulness meditation. Training your mind to notice thoughts without judgment. Body scanning. Checking your body daily for tension or sensations linked to emotions. Trigger tracking. Keeping a simple log. What triggered me today? How did I react? What could I have done differently? Awareness grows with practice, like a muscle that strengthens over time. 5. The power of pausing early. Imagine emotions like a fire. If you notice the spark early, it's easy to blow it out. If you ignore it, soon the flames are uncontrollable. Awareness allows you to pause when irritation starts instead of yelling later. To calm yourself during the first signs of anxiety before panic builds. To recognize pride before it makes you defensive. By catching emotions early, you save yourself from bigger battles later. 6. Real-life example. You're in a meeting and a colleague interrupts you. A flash of irritation rises. You feel your jaw tighten, your chest heat up. Normally, you'd snap back, but this time you notice it. You breathe, sit back, and simply say, "Go ahead, finish." Later, you make your point calmly. Your awareness shifted what could have been an embarrassing outburst into a moment of strength. Key takeaways. You cannot control what you are unaware of. Emotions always show up as physical and mental signals. Learn to notice them. Shifting from "I am angry" to "I notice anger" creates powerful distance. Awareness gives you time to pause, which saves you from regret. Chapter 6. The Pause, Your Greatest Weapon. Learning to create space between stimulus and response. 1. The secret between stimulus and response. The Austrian psychiatrist Viktor Frankl once wrote, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom." That space is what we call the pause, a moment of stillness between what happens to you and what you choose to do about it. Most people skip this space. They jump straight from feeling to reacting. But mastering the pause is the difference between being controlled by life and controlling yourself. 2. Why the pause is powerful. It prevents regret. A few seconds of silence can save you from saying words you can't take back. It disarms others. When people expect a reaction and you don't give one, they lose their power over you. It sharpens clarity. A pause lets your rational brain catch up to your emotional brain. It builds respect. Calmness under pressure makes others trust you more. 3. How to practice the pause. The pause doesn't have to be long. Even 2 or 3 seconds can change everything. Here are practical ways to build it into your life. Breathe first, act later. Take 1 deep breath before speaking or replying. Count to 3. Mentally count 1, 2, 3 before responding in tense situations. Sip water. If you're in conversation, taking a slow sip of water can give you a natural pause. Use phrases. Say, "Let me think about that," or "I'll get back to you," instead of reacting instantly. 4. The science behind the pause. When you pause, you allow your prefrontal cortex, the rational brain, to regain control from the amygdala, the reactive brain. That tiny gap gives your higher thinking the chance to say, "Is this worth my energy?" Or, "What outcome do I actually want here?" Or, "How would the calmest version of me respond?" 5. Real-life example. Imagine you get a harsh email from a coworker. Your fingers itch to type back something equally sharp. But instead, you pause. You walk away, breathe, and return later. Reading the email again, you realize they may have been stressed, not attacking you. You reply politely and keep your reputation intact. That pause saved you from unnecessary conflict and maybe even from damaging your career. 6. The pause in relationships. Arguments often escalate because both people fire back instantly. But when one person pauses, even for a breath, it breaks the cycle. The pause gives space for calm words instead of sharp ones. It allows love and respect to survive where anger could have destroyed. Key takeaways. The pause is the most powerful tool for emotional control. A few seconds of silence can prevent regret and preserve respect. Pausing lets your rational brain regain control over your reactive brain. Practicing small pauses daily builds the habit for bigger moments of pressure. Chapter 7. Breath, Body, and Brain. Practical techniques to calm your nervous system in the moment. 1. Your body holds your emotions. Emotions aren't just mental, they live in the body. Tight shoulders, clenched jaw, racing heartbeat, shallow breathing. These are signs your body is carrying stress or reactivity. If ignored, the body continues to act out emotions, often leading to explosive reactions. Understanding this connection allows you to intervene before emotions take control. 2. The power of breath. Breathing is your most accessible tool to calm the nervous system. Deep diaphragmatic breathing. Inhale slowly through your nose, expanding your belly, then exhale fully through your mouth. Box breathing. Inhale 4 seconds, hold 4, exhale 4, hold 4. Counting breaths. Focus on counting your inhales and exhales to shift attention away from the trigger. Breathing signals to the brain, it's safe, calm down. This reduces the fight-flight response and restores clarity. 3. Body awareness and grounding. Physical practices can help release pent-up emotional energy. Progressive muscle relaxation, tense and release each muscle group from toes to head. Grounding techniques. Plant your feet firmly on the floor, feel your connection to the earth, and notice the sensation. Movement. Gentle stretching, walking, or yoga can release tension and reset your system. Your body and brain are inseparable. Calming the body helps calm the mind. 4. Brain training. Your prefrontal cortex, the rational part of your brain, can be strengthened with practice. Mindful observation. Notice your thoughts and feelings without judgment. Visualization. Imagine yourself responding calmly to a triggering situation before it happens. Repetition. The more you practice calmness, the faster your brain responds under stress. This rewires neural pathways, making calmness your default response rather than a rare exception. 5. Real-life example. You're stuck in traffic, and another driver cuts you off. Your first instinct is road rage. Hands clench, face flushes, thoughts erupt. Instead, you 1. Notice your body tension. 2. Take a slow, deep breath. 3. Relax your shoulders and release your jaw. Within moments, your brain shifts from reactive mode to calm awareness. You avoid conflict, your heart rate slows, and you regain emotional control, all because you used breath and body awareness. 6. Daily practices to strengthen breath and body control. Morning mindfulness, 5 to 10 minutes of focused breathing to start the day centered. Check-ins. Pause during the day to scan your body for tension. Evening release. Stretch, meditate, or journal to release emotional residue from the day. Trigger rehearsal. Visualize potential conflicts and practice breathing through them. Regular practice trains your nervous system to respond calmly instead of reactively. Key takeaways. Emotions are both mental and physical. Calming the body calms the mind. Breath work is the fastest way to reset your nervous system. Grounding, stretching, and mindfulness strengthen emotional resilience. Practice daily to make calmness automatic under stress. Chapter 8. Reprogramming your mind. Shifting subconscious patterns that keep you reactive. 1. Why we react the way we do. Many of our automatic reactions are rooted in subconscious beliefs, past experiences, and habitual thinking. Childhood conditioning can teach us to overreact to criticism or conflict. Past betrayals or failures can make us defensive, anxious, or angry without realizing why. These subconscious patterns shape our responses long before our conscious mind even notices. To control reactions, we must reprogram the mind at its deepest levels. 2. Identifying your reactive patterns. The first step is awareness. Ask yourself, which situations trigger me repeatedly? What thoughts or beliefs arise in those moments? How do I physically and emotionally respond? Journaling or reflecting on your daily reactions can help uncover patterns that keep you trapped in reactivity. 3. Challenging limiting beliefs. Many reactions stem from false or limiting beliefs. I must always defend myself. If I don't react, I'll be disrespected. Other people's words define my worth. Challenge these beliefs with logic and experience. Ask, is this really true? Test new responses in low-stakes situations. Gradually replace old beliefs with empowering ones. 4. Mental rehearsal and visualization. Your brain cannot distinguish between real and vividly imagined experiences. Use this to your advantage. Visualize yourself remaining calm in a previously triggering scenario. Imagine your physical responses relaxed, shoulders slow breathing, composed speech. Repeat daily to create new neural pathways that favor calmness over reactivity. This process strengthens your mind's default response to stress. 5. Positive affirmations and thought replacement. Replace automatic reactive thoughts with intentional, empowering ones. Instead of, I can't let them disrespect me, say, I choose calmness over chaos. Instead of, I have to prove I'm right, say, I respond with clarity, not defensiveness. Regular repetition rewires the subconscious and reduces reactive impulses over time. 6. Real-life example. Imagine a coworker criticizes your project. Your old pattern, flare of anger, defensive email, tense meeting. New approach after reprogramming. 1. Notice the triggering emotion. 2. Recall your mental rehearsal. 3. Replace old reactive thoughts with calm affirmations. 4. Respond thoughtfully or pause before replying. Over time, your default reaction shifts from impulsive anger to composed clarity. 7. Daily practices for reprogramming. Reflection journaling. Note triggers and your new chosen responses. Visualization exercises. Spend 5 minutes imagining yourself responding calmly. Affirmation repetition. Write and repeat 2 to 3 affirmations daily. Small tests. Practice calm reactions in low-stakes situations before facing major triggers. Consistency rewires your brain, turning self-mastery into a habit. Key takeaways. Most reactivity comes from subconscious patterns shaped by past experiences. Awareness, belief challenging, and mental rehearsal are keys to reprogramming the mind. Positive affirmations and visualization create new neural pathways for calmness. Over time, deliberate practice turns self-mastery into your default state. Chapter 9. Detachment without coldness. How to stay emotionally steady while still caring deeply. 1. Understanding detachment. Detachment is often misunderstood. Many think it means withdrawing, becoming indifferent, or shutting off emotions. That's not true detachment. True detachment means observing emotions without being overwhelmed by them, caring about people and situations without being controlled by them, maintaining inner calm while interacting with the world. Detachment is freedom, not coldness. 2. Why detachment matters. When you're reactive, you often lose yourself in others' emotions or external events. Over-involvement leads to stress, exhaustion, and conflict. Emotional dependency gives others control over your state of mind. Detachment restores your emotional sovereignty, letting you respond intentionally rather than impulsively. 3. Detachment versus indifference. Indifference, you don't care, you close your heart. Detachment, you care deeply, but you don't give your power away to circumstances or people. Example, a friend insults you. Indifference, you ignore them because you don't care. Detachment, you notice your feelings, understand the source of the insult, and respond calmly or choose not to respond without losing composure. Detachment allows you to care without being drained. 4. Setting healthy boundaries. Detachment requires boundaries. Emotional boundaries. Decide what emotions you take responsibility for and what belongs to others. Physical or situational boundaries. Protect your time and energy from unnecessary drama. Mental boundaries. Avoid dwelling on things you cannot control. Boundaries allow you to stay engaged without being engulfed. 5. Practicing presence without absorption. Stay fully present with people without absorbing their emotional turbulence. Use mental cues like, I am here, but I do not carry your storm. Observe, listen, empathize, but maintain calm. This keeps your heart open while preserving emotional balance. 6. Real-life example. You have a colleague who constantly complains and criticizes. A reactive pattern, you get defensive, anxious, or angry. A detached approach, you listen, empathize, but do not let their negativity dictate your mood. You respond calmly or choose silence. Detachment allows you to care without being drained. 7. Daily practices for detachment. Mindful reflection. At the end of the day, review situations where you lost your calm. Ask, was I detached or reactive? Boundary exercise. Identify one situation where you will protect your energy today. Compassion practice. Empathize without absorbing the emotional weight. Affirmation. I can care deeply without losing my calm. Key takeaways. Detachment is observing without being controlled. It is not indifference. Emotional boundaries and presence are essential to maintain inner calm. Detachment allows you to care, love, and engage without being reactive or drained. Practice daily to balance connection with composure. Chapter 10. The Art of Letting Go. How releasing control and attachment leads to peace and emotional mastery. 1. Why letting go is essential. Many of our reactions come from the need to control, defend, or hold on. Wanting to be right, protecting ego or pride, holding grudges, clinging to expectations. Letting go is not giving up, it's choosing peace over conflict and freedom over attachment. 2. The difference between letting go and giving up. Giving up, surrendering to fear, laziness, or defeat. Letting go is releasing what you cannot control while staying present and strong. Example, you've been hurt by someone's words. Letting go doesn't mean condoning their behavior. It means refusing to let their words control your emotions. 3. How clinging fuels reactivity. Clinging creates anger and resentment, anxiety and stress, obsessive thinking and overanalysis. Holding on to what you cannot control keeps you trapped in a cycle of reactive emotions. Letting go breaks that cycle. 4. The practice of letting go. Acceptance. Acknowledge what is and release judgment. Shift focus. Concentrate on what you can control, your thoughts, words, and actions. Forgiveness. Let go of resentment toward others and yourself. Release outcomes. Focus on effort and presence, not what happens next. 5. Real-life example. You are passed over for a promotion at work. Reactive pattern: anger, bitterness, complaining, passive aggression. Letting go approach: acknowledge disappointment, examine what you can improve, release obsession over the result, and continue performing with integrity and composure. By letting go, you preserve peace and maintain control over your emotions. Chapter 11. In Relationships. How emotional control strengthens connections and prevents unnecessary conflict. 1. Why relationships trigger reactivity. Relationships are some of the most emotionally charged aspects of life. Loved ones often push buttons intentionally or unintentionally. Expectations create pressure and disappointment. Miscommunication can escalate minor issues into major conflicts. Without control, emotions can spiral, leading to arguments, resentment, and distance. 2. Non-reaction as a relationship tool. Choosing not to react immediately in relationships allows clarity. You respond based on understanding, not impulse. Calm influence. Your composed presence can help calm others. And conflict resolution. Pausing before reacting prevents escalation and fosters productive dialogue. Instead of fueling tension, your emotional control becomes a stabilizing force. 3. Active listening. One of the most effective ways to remain calm in relationships is active listening. Fully focus on the other person's words. Avoid interrupting or planning a counter-argument while they speak. Reflect back what you heard to ensure understanding. Respond with intention, not reaction. Listening deeply builds empathy and trust and reduces the urge to react emotionally. 4. Setting boundaries without guilt. Boundaries protect your emotional state without harming relationships. Communicate clearly. I need a moment before I respond. Respect your limits while respecting others. Boundaries are not rejection, they are preservation of emotional health. Healthy boundaries prevent reactivity caused by overwhelm or intrusion. 5. Real-life example. You and your partner are in an argument about finances. Reactive pattern: yelling, blaming, shutting down. Controlled approach. You notice rising anger. Pause, breathe, and respond calmly. Let's discuss this calmly after we've both had a moment. This pause prevents escalation, encourages cooperation, and models emotional maturity. 6. Daily practices for relationship calm. Pause before responding. Even a few seconds can prevent conflict. Reflective journaling. Note recurring triggers and plan conscious responses. Express appreciation daily. Focus on gratitude to counteract tension. Check in emotionally. Ask yourself, am I reacting or responding? Key takeaways. Relationships often trigger reactivity, but emotional control strengthens bonds. Non-reaction allows clarity, calm influence, and better conflict resolution. Active listening and healthy boundaries are essential tools. Pausing, reflecting, and responding intentionally builds trust, respect, and deeper connections. Chapter 12. At Work. How emotional control improves performance, relationships, and leadership in professional settings. 1. Why the workplace is a trigger minefield. Workplaces are high-pressure environments where stress, deadlines, and conflicting personalities can easily trigger reactivity. criticism from a manager or colleague, office politics and gossip, competing priorities or perceived slights. Reacting impulsively can damage your reputation, relationships, and career growth. Emotional control is not just personal, it's professional. 2. Responding versus reacting at work. Reacting is immediate, emotional, and often regretful responses that escalate conflict or appear unprofessional. Responding is thoughtful, measured actions that reflect clarity, competence, and emotional intelligence. Example: a colleague interrupts your presentation. Reaction: snap, yell, or roll your eyes. Tension escalates. Response: pause, take a breath, and continue with composure. Demonstrates confidence and professionalism. 3. Emotional intelligence, EI, in the workplace. Emotional control is a cornerstone of EI. Self-awareness, recognizing triggers and stress responses. Self-regulation, choosing calm, constructive actions instead of impulsive reactions. Empathy, understanding coworkers' perspectives without being swept into their emotions. Social skills, communicating clearly, managing conflict, and building trust. High EI reduces drama, strengthens teamwork, and positions you as a leader. 4. Practical workplace strategies. Pause before responding. Take a deep breath, a sip of water, or a brief mental count. Clarify before reacting. Ask questions to ensure you understand intentions before responding emotionally. Focus on solutions, not blame. Redirect energy from reacting to problem solving. Set boundaries professionally. Protect time and energy without being confrontational. 5. Real-life example. During a team meeting, a coworker dismisses your idea. Reactive pattern: you argue defensively, raising your voice. Controlled approach: you pause, assess the comment objectively, and respond calmly. I understand your perspective. Here's another way to approach it. Your composure earns respect, encourages collaboration, and strengthens your professional credibility. 6. Building long-term emotional control at work. Daily reflection: note moments where you could have reacted and plan better responses. Stress management: use breathwork, short walks, or mindfulness exercises during the day. Seek feedback. Ask mentors or colleagues how you handle pressure and adjust accordingly. Practice small wins. Start with low-stakes situations to build control gradually. Key takeaways: workplaces are high-stress environments prone to emotional triggers. Reacting impulsively damages reputation. Responding thoughtfully builds respect. Emotional intelligence, self-awareness, regulation, empathy, and social skills is key. Daily practice, reflection, and stress management develop long-term emotional mastery. Chapter 13. Handling criticism and conflict. Turning potentially explosive situations into opportunities for growth. 1. Why criticism feels like a threat. Criticism triggers our survival instincts. Even constructive feedback can feel like an attack. Your ego interprets it as a threat to self-worth. Emotional reactivity can lead to defensiveness, anger, or withdrawal. Over time, unprocessed reactions damage relationships and reputations. Understanding why criticism hurts allows you to respond with calm and intention. 2. Reframe criticism as information. Instead of seeing criticism as an attack, view it as data for improvement. Ask, what can I learn from this? Focus on facts, not emotion. Separate the content of the message from the delivery style of the person giving it. This shift transforms potential triggers into tools for personal and professional growth. 3. The pause before responding. When criticism or conflict arises, 1. Notice your initial emotional reaction. 2. Take a slow, deep breath to create space. 3. Decide whether to respond immediately or delay until clarity emerges. Even a few seconds of pause can prevent reactive words or actions that escalate the situation. 4. Conflict as an opportunity. Conflict is inevitable, but it can be constructive rather than destructive. Stay solution-focused instead of blame-focused. Listen actively to understand the other person's perspective. Respond calmly with clear communication, avoiding defensiveness. Look for common ground or compromise rather than winning the argument. By mastering your reactions, conflict becomes a chance to strengthen relationships and build trust. 5. Real-life example. A colleague harshly criticizes your work in a meeting. Reactive approach: retaliate, argue, or shut down, escalates tension. Controlled approach: pause, acknowledge the comment, and respond calmly. I appreciate your feedback. Let me review and see how I can improve this. Your measured response reduces drama, demonstrates professionalism, and creates respect. 6. Daily practices for handling criticism and conflict. Emotional journaling. Note triggers and how you responded. Identify opportunities for improvement. Visualization. Mentally rehearse responding calmly to potential conflicts. Breathwork. Use breathing exercises during tense moments to prevent escalation. Affirmations. I can hear criticism without losing my calm. Key takeaways. Criticism triggers emotional responses, but awareness allows choice. Reframing criticism as information reduces reactivity. Pausing before responding prevents escalation. Conflict can be constructive when approached with calmness, listening, and solution-focused thinking. Daily reflection and practice strengthen your ability to remain composed under pressure. Chapter 14. Emotional Independence. How to rely on yourself for emotional stability rather than others. 1. What emotional independence means. Emotional independence doesn't mean detachment from people. It means not letting others control your inner state. Your mood and self-worth aren't dictated by praise, criticism, or behavior of others. You respond to life's events with clarity, not impulse. You cultivate internal resilience rather than being reactive to external circumstances. Independence is freedom. It allows you to remain calm and intentional. 2. The cost of emotional dependence. Relying on others for emotional stability creates anxiety and insecurity when things don't go your way. Overreaction to criticism, rejection, or disagreement. Dependency that undermines your confidence and relationships. Emotional independence frees you from these reactive patterns. 3. Cultivating internal validation. Self-reflection. Ask yourself, do I need approval from others to feel worthy? Affirmation practice. I am enough. I am in control of my emotions. Focus on effort, not outcomes. Celebrate your actions rather than external validation. By validating yourself internally, you reduce reactivity to external triggers. 4. Responding from stability. When emotionally independent, your responses shift. You listen without being defensive. You engage without overreacting. You set boundaries without guilt. You act from choice, not compulsion. This makes you a steady presence in any situation, calm, confident, and respected. 5. Real-life example. A friend cancels plans last minute. Dependent reaction. Hurt, anger, or guilt. Your mood dictated by their choice. Independent reaction. Acknowledge your feelings, release judgment, and redirect energy. I'll use this time productively. Your emotional state remains intact, and you avoid unnecessary drama or resentment. 6. Daily practices for emotional independence. Morning intention setting. Decide how you will manage your emotions today. Emotional check-ins. Pause during the day to notice if you're giving away your emotional power. Journaling triggers. Identify situations where you rely too much on external validation. Affirmations. Repeat empowering statements to reinforce self-reliance. Key takeaways. Emotional independence means self-reliance in managing moods and reactions. Dependence on others for validation fuels reactivity and insecurity. Internal validation, reflection, and intentional action cultivate resilience. Practicing independence daily makes emotional control automatic and strengthens relationships. Chapter 15. Responding under pressure. Mastering your emotions when stress is high and stakes are even higher. 1. The nature of high-pressure situations. High-pressure moments amplify emotional reactions, tight deadlines, unexpected crises, public scrutiny, or performance evaluations. These situations test your emotional control and often reveal your default patterns, reactive or composed. 2. Recognizing your triggers under pressure. Before you can remain calm, identify your high-stress triggers. Physical signs: racing heart, sweaty palms, tense muscles. Mental signs: racing thoughts, negative self-talk, panic. Emotional signs: frustration, fear, anger. Awareness of these early signs creates the opportunity to pause and respond intentionally. 3. Techniques to maintain composure. Breathing control. Use deep diaphragmatic or box breathing to calm the nervous system. Grounding. Focus on physical sensations, feet on the floor, hands on a desk, to stay present. Pause and visualize. Mentally rehearse calm, effective responses before acting. Positive self-talk. Remind yourself, I can handle this. I choose my response. Even a few seconds of intervention can prevent an emotional spiral. 4. Maintaining clarity and focus. Pressure can cloud judgment. Emotional control preserves mental clarity. Break tasks into smaller, manageable steps. Avoid impulsive decisions driven by emotion. Focus on solutions rather than dwelling on problems. Prioritize actions that are within your control. Calm under pressure often produces better results than frantic, reactive effort. 5. Real-life example. You're leading a project and a last-minute issue threatens to derail it. Reactive pattern: panic, blame, or harsh criticism of the team. Stress escalates. Controlled approach: pause, assess the situation objectively, prioritize tasks, communicate clearly, and act deliberately. By responding calmly, you guide your team effectively and maintain trust even in chaos. 6. Daily practices for high-pressure control. Simulated stress drills. Practice responding calmly to hypothetical high-pressure scenarios. Breathing exercises. Daily breathwork strengthens nervous system resilience. Reflection. Review moments of stress, note successes, and identify improvements. Affirmations. I remain calm, clear, and capable under pressure. Key takeaways. High-pressure situations amplify emotional reactivity, but awareness and preparation allow control. Recognizing physical, mental, and emotional triggers is the first step. Breathing, grounding, visualization, and positive self-talk are practical tools for composure. Calm responses improve clarity, decision-making, and leadership under stress. Chapter 16. Breaking the Habit of Overreaction. How to identify, disrupt, and replace patterns of automatic emotional outbursts. 1. Understanding the habit loop. Overreaction is often a habit, not a conscious choice. Each cycle typically follows this loop. Trigger. An event or comment sparks an emotional response. Routine. The usual reactive behavior occurs, like anger, yelling, or impulsive decision. Reward. Short-term relief or release reinforces the behavior, even if negative in the long term. Breaking the habit requires awareness and intentional action at each stage. 2. Identify your triggers and patterns. Keep a reaction journal to record moments of overreaction. What triggered you? How did your body and mind respond? What was the immediate outcome? Look for common themes to understand the root causes of your overreactions. 3. Disrupt the automatic response. Interrupting the habitual loop gives you space to respond consciously. Pause. Take even a brief moment before responding. Breathe. Deep, slow breaths reset your nervous system. Label. Name your emotion. I notice frustration rising. Redirect. Shift attention to a productive or neutral action rather than reacting impulsively. 4. Replace old patterns with new responses. Once the loop is disrupted, replace reactive behavior with empowering alternatives. Instead of yelling, speak calmly and assertively. Instead of withdrawing, request a pause or clarification. Instead of internalizing anger, release tension with breath, grounding, or journaling. Consistency is key. New habits form through repetition and conscious practice. 5. Real-life example. A friend cancels plans at the last minute. Old habit: immediate frustration, angry text, or sulking. Tension escalates. New approach: pause, take a breath, reflect, and respond calmly. I'm disappointed, but I understand. Let's reschedule. Over time, this becomes the default response, replacing the old reactive habit. 6. Daily practices to break overreaction. Journaling triggers. Document reactions and patterns daily. Mindfulness exercises. Observe thoughts and feelings without judgment. Pause and reflect. Practice even brief pauses in low-stakes situations. Affirmations. I choose calm over reaction. I am in control of my responses. Key takeaways. Overreaction is often a habit reinforced by short-term emotional relief. Awareness of triggers and patterns is the first step to change. Pausing, breathing, labeling emotions, and redirecting attention disrupts reactive loops. Replacing old patterns with conscious responses builds long-term emotional mastery. Chapter 17. Patience as a Superpower. How cultivating patience strengthens emotional control and reduces unnecessary reactions. 1. Why patience matters. Patience isn't just waiting, it's choosing calm in the face of delay, frustration, or provocation. It prevents impulsive decisions and overreactions. It allows you to assess situations clearly. It cultivates resilience and inner peace. People who master patience rarely get hijacked by emotions. They respond instead of reacting. 2. The link between patience and emotional control. Impulsive reactions often stem from a lack of patience. By slowing down your response, you give yourself time to process emotions and consider consequences. Patience creates a natural pause, making self-control automatic rather than forced. 3. Techniques to develop patience. Mindful waiting. Consciously notice sensations and thoughts while waiting in line, traffic, or during delays. Reframing. See waiting or challenges as opportunities for practice rather than obstacles. Breathing exercises. Calm the nervous system while staying present in frustrating situations. Small delays. Intentionally pause before responding to texts, emails, or comments. 4. Patience in relationships and work. In relationships, avoid reacting to minor irritations or misunderstandings. Listen fully before responding. In the workplace, pause before replying to criticism or high-pressure situations. Focus on solutions rather than blame. Patience turns potential conflict into productive interaction. 5. Real-life example. You're stuck in traffic on the way to an important meeting. Reactive pattern: anger, honking, frustration, increased stress, and poor mindset at arrival. Patient approach: take a deep breath, listen to calming music or a podcast, and accept the situation. Arriving calm allows better decision-making, smoother interaction, and preserved energy. 6. Daily practices to cultivate patience. Micro pauses. Practice small waits and delays intentionally to build tolerance. Meditation. Focus on breath or sensations to strengthen patience. Reflection. At day's end, identify moments where impatience arose and reframe for next time. Affirmation: I choose calm and patience over rush and reaction. Key takeaways. Patience is the ability to remain calm in the face of provocation, delay, or challenge. It strengthens emotional control by creating natural pauses for reflection. Practicing patience in daily life, relationships, and work reduces unnecessary reactions. Regular exercises and intentional reflection make patience a habitual superpower. Chapter 18. Gratitude and Emotional Resilience. How cultivating gratitude strengthens your emotional stability and reduces reactivity. 1. The link between gratitude and emotional control. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's wrong or lacking to what is positive and abundant. It reduces stress and negative thinking. It prevents overreaction by putting challenges in perspective. It strengthens resilience, allowing you to bounce back from setbacks calmly. When gratitude becomes a habit, your mind naturally leans toward calm and measured responses. 2. How gratitude reduces reactivity. Focus shift. Instead of fixating on a triggering event, you acknowledge what's going well. Perspective. Minor irritations feel less significant in the bigger picture. Neural impact. Gratitude practice increases activity in the prefrontal cortex, improving emotional regulation. 3. Daily gratitude practices. Journaling. List 3 to 5 things you are grateful for each day. Gratitude pause. Before reacting to a trigger, mentally note something you appreciate in the situation or person. Verbal expression. Tell someone you appreciate them, reducing tension and building connection. Reflective visualization. Visualize positive aspects of your day when stress rises. 4. Gratitude in challenging situations. Even during conflict or difficulty, gratitude can stabilize emotions. Instead of reacting angrily to criticism, recognize the opportunity to learn. When facing setbacks, appreciate what still works or what lessons can be gained. Gratitude doesn't ignore problems, it reframes your emotional response to them. 5. Real-life example. You receive harsh feedback from a manager at work. Reactive pattern: anger, defensiveness, or resentment. Gratitude approach: pause, breathe, and focus on the opportunity for growth. I'm grateful for the feedback. I can improve my performance. Your calm, reflective response maintains professionalism and preserves relationships. 6. Building long-term emotional resilience. Morning gratitude routine. Start the day by listing things you appreciate. Evening reflection. Review the day's challenges and identify positive takeaways. Gratitude reminders. Place sticky notes or alarms to cue moments of appreciation. Key takeaways. Gratitude shifts focus from problems to positives, reducing reactivity. Daily practice strengthens emotional resilience and stability. Even in challenges, gratitude reframes perspective and promotes calm responses. Integrating gratitude with mindfulness and breathwork creates long-lasting emotional control. Chapter 19. Developing Long-Term Emotional Mastery. How to turn the principles of calm and self-control into lifelong habits. 1. What emotional mastery means. Emotional mastery is not the absence of emotion. It's the ability to choose how you respond to any situation. You remain composed under stress. You avoid being hijacked by anger, fear, or frustration. And you respond with clarity, intention, and wisdom. It's a skill that grows through consistent practice and reflection. 2. The foundation of long-term mastery. Self-awareness. Know your triggers, emotional patterns, and habitual responses. Self-regulation. Pause, breathe, and consciously choose responses. Mindfulness. Stay present in thoughts, feelings, and actions. Resilience. Bounce back from challenges without losing composure. Mastery is built over time, not overnight. It's a journey of incremental improvement. 3. Habits that support emotional mastery. Daily reflection. Assess emotional reactions and identify areas for growth. Mindful meditation. Strengthen awareness and calmness. Gratitude practice. Keep perspective and reduce reactive tendencies. Boundary setting. Protect your emotional energy and relationships. Visualization. Mentally rehearse calm responses to potential triggers. 4. Integrating emotional mastery into daily life. Relationships. Respond calmly, listen actively, and maintain detachment without coldness. Workplace. Approach criticism, stress, and conflict with clarity and professionalism. Stressful situations. Pause, breathe, and focus on solutions rather than reacting impulsively. Self-talk. Replace reactive or negative thoughts with empowering affirmations. Consistency in these practices transforms emotional mastery from a goal into a natural way of being. 5. Real-life example. Imagine a major project at work goes wrong at the last minute. Reactive pattern, panic, blame, or emotional outburst worsens the situation. Mastery approach, assess the problem calmly, communicate clearly with the team, prioritize solutions, and act deliberately. Over time, this approach becomes instinctive, reducing stress and enhancing performance in every area of life. 6. Daily practices for long-term mastery. Morning intention setting. Decide how you will manage your emotions today. Evening reflection. Review emotional responses and progress. Micro practices. Pause before responding in small, everyday triggers. Continuous learning. Read, journal, or seek guidance to deepen understanding of emotional control. Key takeaways. Emotional mastery is the ability to consciously choose responses, not suppress emotions. It is built on self-awareness, self-regulation, mindfulness, and resilience. Daily habits and consistent practice make calm and control a natural default. Mastery enhances relationships, professional performance, and overall well-being. Chapter 20. Your Path Forward. Consolidating your learning and creating a lifelong plan for emotional mastery. 1. Reflecting on the journey. Over the past chapters, you've learned to recognize triggers and habitual reactions, pause and respond instead of reacting, set healthy boundaries and detach without coldness, reprogram your mind through visualization, affirmations, and reflection, cultivate patience, gratitude, and emotional independence. This journey is not a one-time fix. It's a continuous practice of self-awareness and choice. 2. Creating a personal emotional control plan. 1. Assess your current state. Identify your most common triggers and habitual reactions. 2. Set clear goals. Decide which areas of your life you want to respond calmly, in work, relationships, or daily stressors. 3. Choose daily practices, meditation, journaling, gratitude, micropauses, breath work, affirmations. 4. Track progress. Reflect daily or weekly to notice improvements and challenges. 5. Adjust and refine. Update strategies as you grow and encounter new situations. A structured plan keeps your practice intentional and sustainable. 3. Handling setbacks. Emotional mastery is not perfection, setback for normal. Expect moments of frustration, overreaction, or impatience. View setbacks as learning opportunities rather than failures. Re-engage with your practices immediately after a slip to reinforce progress. Consistency over time is more important than perfection in every moment. 4. Lifelong integration. Relationships. Respond calmly, listen actively, and maintain emotional independence. Work. Approach challenges and stress with clarity, patience, and professionalism. Self-care. Protect your emotional energy, practice gratitude, and nurture resilience. Continuous learning. Read, meditate, and practice visualization regularly. Emotional control becomes a natural part of your personality when integrated into daily life. 5. Real-life example. Imagine facing multiple stressful situations in one day: criticism at work, tension at home, and traffic delays. Old pattern: reactivity, anger, and exhaustion. New approach: pause, breathe, reflect, respond intentionally in each scenario. Outcome: reduced stress, preserved relationships, improved decision-making, and inner peace. By applying the principles consistently, calm becomes your default state. 6. Final practices for the path forward. Daily reflection and journaling, note triggers, responses, and wins. Affirmations reinforce calm, patience, and self-mastery. Mindfulness and breath work. Stay present and grounded. Gratitude. Maintain perspective and emotional resilience. Continuous learning. Read, meditate, and practice visualization regularly. Emotional control becomes a natural part of your personality when integrated into daily life.